Yes, good morning to all of you. Uh, I hope నా వాయిస్ వినపడతా ఉంది అందరికి. Anybody respond?
ఎస్ వినపడుతుంది సార్.
Yes, okay. So one thing,
వినపడుతుంది సార్.
yes, so yeah, okay. One thing, మీరు సిగ్నల్ బాగున్న చోట కూర్చోండి సో దట్ మీకు డిస్టర్బెన్స్ లేకుండా ఉంటుంది వీడియో కానీ ఆడియో కానీ. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ ఎనీబడి హ్యాస్ ఎనీ వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ డిస్టర్బెన్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే నాకు చెప్పండి. ఐ విల్ జస్ట్ రెక్టిఫై చెక్ ద సెట్టింగ్స్. Okay, now let us start today's class. So I'll share my slide. Slide కనపడంగానే you just tell me that you are able to see. Yes, are you able to see the slide? Anybody respond?
ఎస్ సార్. ఎస్ సార్.
Yes, okay, right. Yes, okay. So in our last class we were discussing about the uh, electron transport chain. Let me quickly just revise the previous class and we'll go forward. So as you know that yeah. So as you know that photosynthesis occurs in two stages. One is the light reaction phase, and second one is the dark reaction phase. So in light reaction phase, where is it occurring means, so as you know, this is the chloroplast structure where inside the chloroplast you will be having thylakoids. Okay, this is single thylakoid which is called grana, and if it is in a bundle like this, it is called granum. Okay, so this stack of thylakoids which is called as granum, inside this thylakoid the first reaction occurs. Okay, the first reaction takes place in the granum region. So in the first reaction, that is first phase, what is happening in the first phase is the light reaction phase. So in this, what is happening? First thing is release of oxygen is happening. So as we discussed in the Hill reaction that photolysis of water occurs and oxygen is released. Okay, that is taking place in the light reaction phase. And second thing is the production of ATPs and NADPH. This thing you remember. So NADPH is being produced here through two photosystems, that is PS1 and PS2. Okay, so these two photosystems are linked together by electron transport and proton translocation, by which the ATPs and NADPH energy is produced through these two photosystems during the electron transport chain system. So this is taking place in the presence of light. So this is light dependent phase, that is why it is called light reaction phase. Coming down to the second phase of photosynthesis, that is the dark reaction phase. What happens here? Here carbon dioxide fixation is taking place. Okay, so carbon dioxide fixation is taking place and the glucose is being produced, that is C6H12O6. So during this phase, dark reaction phase, whatever ATP is produced, that is utilized here in CO2 fixation and carbohydrate production. So this reaction is light independent reaction. So even though if a light, if it is present, it occurs. Even if it is absent, then also this reaction occurs. That is why it is because of this light independent reaction. It is called as dark reaction phase. Okay, so just to differentiate from this earlier one. So this is just a brief thing what is happening in photosynthesis. Now in this diagram, if you see in the below diagram, suppose you take a cross section of the granule. So this is how it looks. So one thing is if it is in bundle like this, okay, this is total bundle. This is called the stack, where the granum are in bundle like this stack. Okay, this whole thing is stack. Uh, Other than this, this thing you can have observe, that is stroma lamella. Okay? So this is the extension between one granum and another granum. So here, this part you see on the left side and right side, this is the stroma lamellae, which is connecting two granums. Okay, so you just see here below that we are having photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So photosystem 1 and 2, they are carried out. So between these photosystem 1 and 2, there is they are linked together by electron transport and proton translocation. So because of these two, photosystem 1 and 2 are linked, and ultimately ATPs are produced. So the photosystem 1 and 2, they are carried out by so many complexes. Between them, there are some protein complexes present through which the electron transport and proton translocation occurs. So here, if you see PS1, it is denoted by this dark green color structure, suppose. So here this dark green structure, just to differentiate where photosystem 1 is taking place in granum or thylakoid and where photosystem 2 is taking place, just to differentiate that, it is denoted here that photosystem 1 is this dark green color structure, bead-like structure. If you observe here, it is are present here like this on the thylakoid membrane. You can see them even in the lower part also, but you can see them, okay, here. So you can easily indicate that these are the photosystem 1 complex that are present here. That is photosystem 1 is taking place. But you won't find this photosystem 1 in this region. That is the folding region. So here you just remember that this folded region in between this region, this one, and this one, where the it is in bundle like this. So this part, folded part, is known as the stacked thylakoid membranes, or it is also called oppressed region. Okay, all they are compressed one above the other. So that is they are in the stack. So this region is known as the stacked thylakoid membrane region, whereas the extensions, this one and this one, that is the stroma lamellae. This part is known as the unstacked membranes, or this is called non-oppressed region. Okay, non-oppressed region. So now if you see photosystem 1, where it is taking place, it is taking place here, the non-oppressed region only. Okay, outside this stacked thylakoid. And photosystem 2 is denoted by this protein complex. Photosystem 2, multiple complexes are involved. This like this structure where you can see observe here in the folding region only. So many are there. So by this you can say that the PS2 is taking place in the pressed region or the stacked thylakoid membrane region. So in both PS1 and 2, these are comprised of other than protein complexes, they also have the color pigments stored inside them, embedded inside them. That is the chlorophyll 1, chlorophyll A, B, C, carotenoids, xanthophylls, and so on. So this is photosystem 1. It is taking place in the non-oppressed region or unstacked membranes region, and the photosystem 2 is taking place in the stacked region. Now, if you see uh, that here another complex is there, which is CF0 CF1 complex. So this is nothing but another complex which is known as ATPase. Is known as ATPase. So this ATPase is made up of CF0 and CF1. This tail part is known as the CF0, and this head part is known as the CF1. So what is this ATPase complex all about? It is all about phosphorylation, photophosphorylation. So at the end of PS1 and 2, photosystem 1 and 2, whatever protons are left over in the lumen region, they pass through this uh, ATPase complex to the stroma region, and that is enough for the production of ATP. That we will see afterwards. So you just uh, remember that this ATPase complex is related to the formation of ATP by the proton translocation process to CF0 and CF1 complex. Okay, you can find these bead-like structure all over in the non-oppressed region. Okay, this pink color bead-like structure. They are not embedded inside; they are present outside the non-oppressed region. And here one more thing is there, that is cytochrome BF complex. Now, cytochrome BF complex is mostly involved here. The oppressed, the stacked region, that is oppressed region, this orange color bead-like structure you can find. They are also present in the photosystem 1 also. So this cytochrome BF complex is utilized in both the regions, the oppressed and as well as non-oppressed. That is, they are present in the photosystem 1 and 2, both the photosystems. So this is just a brief idea you must have that where photosystem 1 is taking place and where photosystem 2 is taking place in the gram. So this is the electron transport chain system in the thylakoid. So suppose this is the thylakoid and this is the region. Suppose if we enlarge, it is looking like this. So this black region, okay, this black region is nothing but thylakoid. Okay, this thing. So in this black region, we are having photosystem 2, we are having photosystem 1, PS2 and PS1. And this region is the stroma region, that is the outside region. And this region is the lumen region, inside the gram. Okay, so this is lumen. Now here if you see uh, the electron transport, let us start from photosystem 2. As I discussed yesterday that, yeah, just a minute. So as I discussed yesterday that there are antennas present. So what is here antenna for photosystem 2? That is light harvesting complex 2, LHC2 we are telling. So this is comprised of what? Of all the chlorophyll pigments, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B and so on. Okay, these are the accessory pigments surrounding this. So what is happening here, when the light below 680 nm, that is light below 680 nanometers range is absorbed here by this light harvesting complex, and what does that do? That pass on the that light energy to the reaction center of PS2, that is P680. So P680 is the reaction center, you can say, for the photosystem 2. This light energy is passed, that is photons are passed here to the reaction center P680 where it releases the electron. So when this is in active state, it releases one electron to the first primary electron acceptor, that is pheophytin. You can note down this short observation, that is LHC is light harvesting complex, PHEO is the pheophytin, first primary electron acceptor in photosystem 2. So here this electron, when it passes on from the reaction center to the pheophytin, this reaction center P680, it becomes excited. It is in the excited state, okay, because it has lost the electron. This electron is further transferred from pheophytin to quinone pool. This pool is known as, this cycle is known as quinone pool, where the electrons are passed on to plastoquinone. Plastoquinone is reduced to plastosemiquinol. Plastosemiquinol releases the electron to cytochrome B6 complex. So this complex is known as cytochrome BF complex, where first the electron passes on to cytochrome B6, which is copper rich complex. And at the same time, two protons are transferred from the stroma region to the lumen region. So one electron, when it moves forward from quinone pool to cytochrome B6, here two protons are translocated from stroma region to the lumen region. So now here two protons are here, the lumen region, suppose. Now further what happens? This electron is passed on from cytochrome B6 to cytochrome F complex, which is iron sulfur complex. Cytochrome F is iron sulfur complex, cytochrome B6 is copper complex, made up of copper. Now cytochrome F, what it does, it passes on the electron to plastocyanin. Pc is plastocyanin. This electron from plastocyanin is passed on to photosystem 1 reaction center P700. So when it reaches here, when during the electron that passes on from cytochrome F to plastocyanin to this plastocyanin releases the electron to reaction center P700. Okay, this is the reaction center of what? Photosystem 1. So photosystem 1 also has the light harvesting complex antenna, that is light harvesting complex 1, just as we had here in photosystem 2, light harvesting complex 2. So similar to LHC2, it is also made up of chlorophyll A and the accessory chlorophyll pigments, where the light energy of more than 680 nanometers is utilized here or absorbed here, and it is passed on to reaction center 1, that is P700. Now this reaction center is in active state, where the electrons are released from reaction center 1 to the primary electron acceptor A, that is ferredoxin. So this ferredoxin, when it accepts the electron from reaction center P700, reaction center P700 gets excited. Okay, it is in excited state because it has lost its electron. Now this electron, when it moves forward from this complex to the stroma region, it releases the energy, where that energy is utilized by NADPH, NADP plus, and this NADP plus is converted into NADPH. This is the main thing, where NADPH is produced. Okay. Now what is happening here? Both the reaction centers are in excited state. They have to be balanced. Why they are in excited state? Because they have lost their electrons. Now here in photosystem 2, when the P680 reaction center has lost its electron, it is in excited state. To balance it, it has to get back the electrons again. So here what is happening, the water that is present here, the lumen region, that is splitted, that is broken down. Photolysis of water is taking place where oxygen is released and protons are broken down, splitted. Here, from one molecule of water, the oxygen is released and two protons are produced in the lumen region. So this is taking place by a complex called oxygen evolving complex, which is made up of manganese, calcium, and fluoride ions. So here four manganese ions are involved. So mainly manganese is the ion. So this is the complex, that is the oxygen evolving complex, which is responsible for the photosynthesis, photolysis of water, where during the breaking down of water into oxygen and protons, electron is released, which is passed on to reaction center 1. Okay, so that is how the reaction center 1 is balanced. Now again, this reaction center 1, it releases the electrons, that electron which has passed on from water, that electron will move to pheophytin, primary electron acceptor. Again, this electron moves to quinone pool. From quinone pool, semiquinol to plastoquinone, where this electron is released to cytochrome B6 complex. Again, here two proton dislocation is taking place through the quinone pool and released into the lumen region. So overall, four protons are released here. Two previously and now two. Okay. So again, one electron has passed on. That's why. So four protons have been dislocated from stroma region to lumen region through the plastoquinone pool. Okay, PQ means plastoquinone. So here, this electron further from cytochrome B6 complex, it reaches to cytochrome F complex. From cytochrome F complex, this is passed on to plastocyanin, same route. From plastocyanin, this electron is passed on to reaction center 1. So here this is in the excited state. So now this is balanced, and again this plasto reaction center 1 releases the electron to ferredoxin. From ferredoxin, again NADP plus utilizes that energy due to electron transfer, and it combines with hydrogen present in the stroma and changes to NADPH, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Okay, that is how NADPH is produced. Now this is all about electron transfer. Now here what is happening? So there are protons left over here. Two protons are coming from water and four protons are coming from quinone pool, plastoquinone pool. So overall here 6 protons are present in the lumen region. Okay, this thing is going on continuously in the presence of light. So here proton accumulation will keep on increasing in the lumen region. So there is proton gradient deficiency that is produced in the stroma region because of the proton translocation, and based on the Peter Mitchell's chemiosmotic theory, where the proton is differentiation, concentration differentiation is occurring between the stroma region and the lumen region. To balance it, these protons are again pumped back to the back again to the stroma region. Okay, so this is done by what? By the ATPase complex. So as we discussed here, this ATPase has two regions. One is the tail region, which is known as the CF0 complex. This is the tail region, and this is the head region, which is known as the CF1 region. What is CF means? It is coupling factor. So this thing is the ATPase complex. It is the ATPase. So this ATPase here, this is the CF0 proton channel. This is the head region CF1, where every time 3 protons, okay, 3 proton translocation occurs at a single time when 3 protons are translocated from the lumen region to stroma region. That energy is enough for combining adenosine diphosphate and inorganic phosphate and converting it into ATP. That is how 1 ATP is produced by translocation of 3 protons through the proton channel, that is ATPase complex. So this thing is known as the non-cyclic for photophosphorylation. Okay, this is photophosphorylation where ATP is produced through the PS1 and 2, photosystem 1 and 2. That is why it is known as non-cyclic means here this is known as the non-cyclic electron transport flow, where this is the same picture. Okay, don't get confused. PS1, PS2 and everything. So here I'll just tell you. Here, what is here? This is the photosystem 2. This is photosystem 1. So all this is taking place where in the thylakoid region, and here this is the stroma region and this is the thylakoid region, sorry, lumen region. So here electron is passed on from reaction center 1 and here is here. Electron transport. So 2 electrons are passed on from reaction center 1 is P680 and all these are accessory photosynthetic pigments where light is absorbed below 680 nm frequency light, and this is passed on here to primary electron acceptor in PS2, that is the pheophytin. From pheophytin, that is passed on to plastoquinone pool. From plastoquinone pool to cytochrome complex. This is cytochrome B and cytochrome F complex. Okay, cytochrome B6 and F complex. From there, it is passed on to plastocyanine. From plastocyanine, it reaches the reaction center 1, where the light energy of more than 680 nm is used here, and the reaction center is P700, and that light energy is passed on to. So this is also having same setup, the accessory pigments and chlorophyll and all. So where light energy is passed on, and from here the electron is passed on to primary electron acceptor, that is ferredoxin. From ferredoxin, uh, the energy that is released during the electron transport, okay, that is enough for combining NADP plus and 2 protons and converting them to NADPH, okay, by the electron transport to ferredoxin. So this is how that NADPH2 it is. So this is how the electron transport is taking place between photosystem 1 and 2. So you can observe here that it is in the Z pattern. Okay, so it is in the Z pattern where the electron is starting here, moving back, and again going there. So here, this is the starting point, and this is the end point. From here, again, that electron won't come back to the starting point. That is why it is non-electron transport. And here, left side, this is the photolysis of water, where water is broken down into protons and oxygen, and it is again releasing the electrons back to sending the electrons to reaction center 1, 2, that is P680 to balance it. Okay, when it is excited state by because of losing of electrons during the first phase. So here these protons and there are protons coming from plastoquinone pool. All those protons are stored here in the lumen region. Okay, overall 6 protons are stored from 1 electron. So these protons they pass on to the ATPase complex, and that is how phosphorylation is taking place. This is all about non-cyclic electron flow. Now coming down to the cyclic electron flow, this is cyclic electron flow. Here you can see here the light energy is uh, more than 680 nanometers of light energy is used here. Here only photosystem 1 only is involved. Okay, keep this thing in mind. So photosystem 2, which is uh, using less than 680 nanometers light, that is not involved here. Only photosystem 1 is involved. So here photosystem 1 reaction center is P700. Okay, this is the reaction center of photosystem 1. The light energy is passed on to photosystem 1, that is reaction center 1, that is P700, through the antenna LHC1, where the electrons are passed on from photosystem 1 to primary electron acceptor, that is the ferredoxin. So ferredoxin is the primary electron acceptor here. Further, that electron is passed on to cytochrome B6 complex. Then again that electron is passed on to cytochrome F complex. Cytochrome B6 is copper rich complex. Cytochrome F is iron sulfur rich complex. From cytochrome F, this electron is passed on to plastocyanine Bc. And again that electron reaches back to P700. So first when it releases the electron, this P700 reaction center gets excited. So again it gets balanced by the return of the electron. And again the electron is moving back. So this is a continuous chain. Okay, keep this thing in mind. So it is where from the starting point electron is released, it passes on to ferredoxin, cytochrome B6, cytochrome F, plastocyanin, and again it reaches back to reaction center 1. That is the starting point. In between, you see here there are ATPs also generated from between the reaction here. Ferredoxin and cytochrome B6, when the electron translocation occurs, that energy is utilized for combining ADP and PI, that is adenosine diphosphate and inorganic phosphate, and converting them into ATP. Here one ATP is produced, as well as here second ATP is produced between the cytochrome B6 and F, where electron transport occurs. That energy is utilized by ADP and PI, and the second ATP is produced. So this is the first and this is the second. Okay. So this is the cyclic electron transport flow. So you saw the non-cyclic and the cyclic. Now coming down to the differences between the non-cyclic photophosphorylation and the cyclic photophosphorylation. So why we are calling it as photophosphorylation means ultimately the ATPs have to be produced through what? Through this one. Okay, ATPs. So whatever protons are there, ultimately ATP has to be produced here, either in the case of non-cyclic or in the case of cyclic. So ATP is the current energy, chemical energy that has to be produced. So if you look at the differences here, first basic difference is in the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, we can find both photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Both are involved. But here only photosystem 1 is involved in the cyclic. Definitely, you can see here PS1 is here, where this is PS1. Okay, in cyclic. Whereas in non-cyclic, we have both photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. Then the second difference is the photolysis of water takes place in the non-cyclic, whereas the photolysis of water does not take place. That is, the photolysis of water is not here. You can see here nowhere water is involved, whereas here in non-cyclic, the left side you can see here water is broken down into oxygen and protons, nitrogen ions. This is the photolysis of water. Third one is water is consumed. Obviously, water is present in the non-cyclic where photolysis of water is taking place, whereas in the non-cyclic water is not present, it is not consumed. Fourth one, so oxygen is liberated. Okay, oxygen is liberated. So during the photolysis of water only that is taking place. Whereas in cyclic, photophosphorylation, oxygen is not liberated. Obviously, water is not there, so photolysis of water won't take place and oxygen won't get released. Fifth one is the source of electron is water. So here, if you see here, when during the photolysis of water, so when water is broken down into hydrogen and oxygen, here electrons are released. That are passed on to reaction center 2 P680. Then only it is balanced. So that source of electron is water here, whereas the source of electron is P700 in the cyclic. So here from the light, the electrons are passed on from P700. The sixth one is it is affected by DCMU. So some chemical is affecting the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, that is dichlorophene dimethyl urea. So this chemical can affect the process of the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, whereas this is DCMU cannot affect the cyclic, but it is affected by paraquat, which is methyl violagen chemical. Okay. Then the seventh difference is it is found in green plants. So non-cyclic photophosphorylation you can see then in the green plants, whereas it is found in bacteria and green plants. So cyclic photophosphorylation is also found in bacteria, microorganisms also, as well as the plants. And the eighth one is the NADPH2 is also formed with ATP. Here NADPH2 is produced during non-cyclic photophosphorylation, but only ATP is produced in cyclic. So here if you see, so here during the non-cyclic transport of the electron, here NADP is produced. Even in the previous picture here also, if you see, ultimately here NADP is the end product. So now this NADPH has to be converted into ATPs, then only it can be utilized in the further reaction, in the dark phase reaction. So whatever NADPH that are produced in the non-cyclic transport that are utilized in the that are converted into ATPs during the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Whereas in the cyclic photophosphorylation, you can see directly the ATPs are produced here during the redox into cytochrome change and cytochrome B6 to cytochrome F change, where another ATP is produced. Okay, so this is the here NADPH is formed with ATP, and in the non-cyclic photophosphorylation, whereas the ATPs are directly formed in the cyclic photophosphorylation. So this is all about the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So you can expect an essay question in this regard in exam point of view with regard to electron transport chain, and you can expect a short answer question also with regard to non-cyclic photophosphorylation, or they may ask the differences between the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, so this is all about the light reaction phase. Yeah, here one more thing. Here this is the photophosphorylation ATPase complex which we discussed earlier. That is the how ATPs are formed. So you can see here this is the thylakoid membrane, and this is the stroma region, and this is the lumen region. So from photosystem 1 and 2, here 6 protons are formed. 2 are coming from water and 4 are coming from phenol pool. So here you can see in below lumen region where here. So here 2 protons are coming from water, and here 4 protons are coming from phenol pool. So ultimately 6 protons are formed from one electron transport. Okay, so here these 6 protons, so that is how the proton efficient gradient uh, concentration gradient is developed. So based on the Peter Mitchell's chemiosmotic theory, here proton concentration is increasing in the lumen region, whereas compared to the stroma region where it is decreasing. So uh, at this time, there is a 3 proton translocation from the lumen region to the stroma region. So 3 protons are translocated. So through what? Through this ATPase complex. So this is the ATPase complex, which has two regions. One is the tail region and one is the head region. So the tail region is the CF0 region. You can see so all these are complexes, subunits present in the proton CF0 complex. And the head region is the CF1 complex, coupling factor 1, coupling factor 0. So coupling factor 1, again you can see here the subunits, that is the alpha, beta subunits of the CF1. Okay, so it has a rotor moment. Okay, so as the proton translocation occurs from the lumen region to stroma region, so every 3 protons are translocated. That is enough to produce 1 ATP. Okay, 1 ATP is produced from where? From 1 adenosine diphosphate plus 1 inorganic phosphate. So it combines these two. That energy is utilized during the proton translocation, which combines adenosine diphosphate and inorganic phosphate into ATP. Okay, so that is how ATP is produced here. So this is all about the cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So I hope it is clear to you. So this is all about the light reaction phase. Now coming down to the second main part, that is the uh, dark reaction phase. So as I said earlier, dark reaction phase is nothing but the light independent phase. So this light reaction phase, it is nothing but the carbon dioxide fixation, or it is also called as carbon assimilation. So this takes place in the it can take place even in the absence or presence of light, and this takes place where? In the stroma region of the chloroplast. So in the chloroplast, the granum thylakoids, where the first reaction phase occurs, that is light reaction phase. Now the dark reaction phase, the second phase, this occurs in the stroma region. This is the stroma region in the chloroplast. So all the enzymes that are required for the dark reaction phase are present here. And dark reaction phase, how it occurs? Whatever ATPs that are produced in the first phase, light reaction phase, that is utilized by the dark reaction phase during the carbon dioxide fixation or carbon assimilation. So based on the first stable compound, carbon dioxide fixation is classified into what? To 3 types. One is the uh, first one is the C3 cycle. It is also called as Calvin cycle, named after the scientist Melvin Calvin. And means the first stable compound is the 3 carbon compound. Okay, that is why it is called 3 C3 cycle. Second one is the C4 cycle, which is also known as Hatch and Slack pathway, named after the scientists who identified this cycle. And C4, the first stable compound that is produced here during the carbon dioxide fixation is the 4 carbon compound. That's why it is known as C4 cycle. Another one is there, that is the CAM cycle, crassulacean acid metabolism. Okay, pathway. So like that, there are 3 pathways in the dark reaction phase of the carbon dioxide fixation or carbon assimilation process. So that we will discuss in our next class, this second dark reaction phase, one by one, that is C3, C4 and CAN. So for today, I stop here. I hope the electron transport and proton translocation is clear for you. Yeah, we are left with another 1 or 2 minutes. So all of you please switch on your video so that I can take the screenshot. Tarak, Dilip, Nagaveni, Bharati, Ramkumar, విష్ణు ఒకసారి మీ వీడియోస్ ఆన్ చేయండి సో దట్ ఐ కెన్ టేక్ ద స్క్రీన్ షాట్. దిలీప్, భారతి, నాగవేణి. So anybody wants to ask anything, you can ask if any doubt is there, or else you can post the doubt if you have any in the WhatsApp group. And thank you all for joining today, and ask your friends who are absent, don't do for not being absent, and join class regularly. Okay, Sham, video off chesko. So whatever we are discussing, so try to go through your material daily so that you can understand the topic better. Okay, so don't stay safe at home, and don't come outside unnecessarily. Even if you come out, wear a mask. So I hope today's class was, you understood today's class. So anybody wants to ask anything, you can ask. Yes, anybody? Yeah. So don't waste time, and study hard, because as soon as you may have your main exams while we reopen, don't waste time, and attend the classes regularly online as it is mandatory. I have already kept on reminding you through the messages in the group sent by the CCE, principal, university authorities. So it is a recorded session. So here all is recorded. Whoever are attending, who are leaving, everything is recorded. Okay, so you can't escape. So better attend the online classes, not only my class, any class you are having, attend all the classes regularly. Don't be absent, or else you will be in trouble. You will not be allowed for the examinations as well as practical examinations, as well as you will be losing the all the benefits that you are provided from the government.